Hello! Welcome back to Dishing with a Dietitian, hosted by Mountain Home VA. Glad to be back for another month with you all talking a little bit about nutrition. So this month we have a very fun topic. Every year in March we celebrate National Nutrition Month. This is a national promotional event where dietitians are promoting what we do. So each year there is a different theme for National Nutrition Month. And so today we are going to talk about the 2025 National Nutrition Month theme, which is Food Connects Us. So, Food Connects Us, this topic looks at the way that food can be a central location that gathers people. I'm so sorry if you heard my dog bark. We're gonna ignore her. So, Food Connects Us. So it's a time to think about how food is a central place for people to gather, and it brings people together. So there are studies that show that when you eat food with other people, you actually make healthier choices. And there's a couple reasons for that, but one of the main reasons is if you're eating a meal by yourself, it's really easy to say, well, I'll just grab something out of the pantry, I'll just pour a bowl of cereal or make a quick PB&J and not put a lot of effort or sometimes thought or intention into that meal that you're making. But when eating with other people, there's a little bit more encouragement to be intentional about what you're putting into that meal. And so people who eat meals with others are more likely to have a well-balanced meal, incorporate more vegetables or more fruits, more really nourishing foods into their diet, and they have better health outcomes because of those foods. Now, when it comes to community as a whole, there are a lot of health benefits associated with being in communities. And community can look like a lot of different things for different people. It can look like a gathering of people who share likes for a similar hobby. It could be maybe a faith-based organization. It could be a gathering of family or friends, chosen family. So there's a lot of different ways that community can look. But whatever it is that you enjoy that helps you socialize and be together with other people, we know there are health benefits to that. So being in community and surrounding yourself with other people, it can help increase lifespan, it can reduce stress levels, it can help to improve physical and mental well-being. It can encourage personal growth. There's so many benefits to community. So for the theme, Food Connects Us, where we're looking at ways that food can bring people together into community, we have a recipe for a Mediterranean bean salad. So this recipe, like always, will be attached in the comments as soon as this video is over. But with this recipe, it's a really easy recipe to make ahead of time. It tastes a little better when you let it mix together, the flavors combine in the fridge for a couple hours before serving. So you can make it ahead of time, and it is a wonderful side dish to go along with a cookout or maybe a picnic. Something where you're gonna plan a gathering with people around you, maybe a potluck or any kind of gathering. So this is gonna be a really easy dish that you can prepare ahead of time, but it is loaded with really nourishing ingredients that can support your overall health. So let's go ahead and look at this recipe. And while I'm working on this recipe here, I want to hear from you all in the comments, those that are live, and if you're watching the recording, go ahead and throw it in the comments too. Tell me what your favorite way to gather with community is. For some people, it might be getting together like a neighborhood baseball game, or it could be gathering together around food. That's my personal favorite. I mean, that's probably no surprise as a dietitian, but gathering around a meal, especially when it's warm outside with a picnic, maybe it could be, who knows? There's lots of different ways that you can gather in community. So tell me in the comments your favorite way. Ooh, book clubs, that's a good one. Hobbies, so many different things. Okay, so let's look at our recipe. So we have a Mediterranean bean salad. So we've got 2 different kinds of beans or legumes. We've got a lot of different color. We've got some veggies, and then we've got a little dressing that's going to be mixed in and give some really good flavor to this recipe. So for our Mediterranean bean salad, we have 1 can of red kidney beans and 1 can of chickpeas. Now chickpeas are also called garbanzo beans, so whatever you want to call it. So I've got a can of each of those in my colander. Now, when you're working with canned beans, you want to make sure to put them in the colander, get rid of all the juice that came in the can, and rinse it really well. By doing that, it helps to remove about 50% of the added sodium. And so if blood pressure is a concern to you, we know that too much added sodium can really spike that blood pressure, so that can be a helpful way to reduce added sodium. Okay, so I've got my can of chickpeas, my can of red kidney beans. Now I need to add a bunch of veggies and color. So the recipe calls for 1 red onion, a small red onion chopped up. Personally, not a big fan of onion, so I am leaving that out of my recipe, but people who love onions say that it just really pulls the recipe together. So of course, add that if you love it. So next we're gonna add in 2 ribs of celery or 2 stalks of celery that have been thinly sliced. I've also got 3 carrots shredded here. So you can get the pre-shredded carrots from the grocery store, or to save a little bit of money, you can use a cheese grater to grate your own carrots. That's what I've done. So I've got 3 carrots and just use the cheese grater, and it comes out really thin shreds of carrots. So that's going into the bowl. Next, we're going to add 1 cucumber that has been diced into small pieces. So you can see pretty small pieces of those cucumber there. So 1 cucumber, and then 3/4 cup of fresh parsley that has been chopped into small pieces. All right, so those are all of our ingredients going into the bowl, and I'm just gonna give it a little stir here to combine everything. Okay, so you can already see there's so much color. So it's really a veggie base, but you've got the beans there to add more fiber and to give a little bit of protein too. And so this recipe right here, all the fiber in it is gonna be really supportive of gut health, but the fiber also can help to lower cholesterol. So if high cholesterol is a concern to you, more fiber from things like beans and veggies like we have here can be really helpful in lowering that cholesterol. So I'm gonna set that to the side for a minute, and we need to make our dressing. So it's a very simple dressing. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Bear with me as mine pours slowly out. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of lemon juice. This is gonna really brighten it up and give this really good fresh flavor. So 1/4 cup of that lemon juice. So next we need to add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. So this minced garlic is gonna give, of course, delicious flavors. Who doesn't love garlic? But garlic is a wonderful source of sulfur that can help to support your gut health, and it supports your liver health. All right, so now we're just gonna add some iodized salt and some black pepper. We're just gonna add those to taste however much you want. Now remember with the salt, you don't want to add too much because there is already some salt on the beans. I mentioned by rinsing those out, it helps to remove about 50% of the added sodium, but there's still some that stays in there. So be cautious not to add too much salt. I added just a little bit to my dressing here, and people can always add more at the table. So I'm gonna mix this up into our dressing, and then just pour that into the bowl and give that a good mix. So the dressing is very light, but it has enough flavor from the lemon juice and the garlic that it really pulls this recipe together. So we're gonna give this a good mix until the dressing is nice and evenly distributed around the beans and the veggies and the parsley. Now, this recipe will taste the best if you've let it sit for a few hours in the fridge to let all those flavors combine. If you're in a pinch, you can eat it immediately, but I'm always a big fan of a recipe that I can make ahead of time when I have a minute and then bring it out when it's time to serve. And especially, you know, as we're talking about how food connects us in community, that can happen around food. If you are going to a picnic or you're hosting a cookout or whatever it is that you might be, you might have like a gathering around food, who wants to be stuck in the kitchen when you have the opportunity to spend time with friends or family? Of course you don't. So this is an easy thing to prep ahead of time. So let me show you how this looks. Look at all those bright colors. It looks so good. It's so crunchy with those chickpeas. They're a little bit of a crunchier legume. And then the different veggies in there give it a nice crunch, like the celery. So it's very fresh, and that's it. We're done. So very simple recipe. Of course, most of the time is spent chopping, which I did ahead of time just for the sake of time. But if you are short on time, you can get the carrots that are pre-shredded at the grocery store. You could get celery that's pre-chopped, and all you have to do is just dump everything into a bowl. So very easy, but incredibly health supportive and great for community. So that's it. That's our recipe for today. Very simple, but delicious. So this is a great recipe to bring into the warmer months, into spring and summer, and I hope you all enjoy it. So like I said, this recipe will be attached in the comments as soon as this video wraps up, and I hope you all enjoy it. So like I said earlier, go ahead and throw into the comments what your favorite way to be in community is. Remember, being in community has a lot of benefits, and it's a great way to make sure that you are eating really nourishing foods and encouraging that vegetable intake from something like this. So I'll be curious to see what you all love to do for community. So if you are interested in working one-on-one with one of our outpatient dietitians with the Mountain Home VA, there's a couple ways that you can get in touch with us. You can ask your primary care provider to enter an outpatient nutrition consult, and they can get you right to our schedulers. Or if you want to take control of getting in touch with one of our dietitians, the outpatient nutrition hotline number is 423-979-2650. Again, that's 423-979-2650. If you are a veteran at Mountain Home VA, we would love to work with you to help answer your questions about nutrition and make sure that you are eating best to support your individual body's needs. So make sure to give that call a number, and I hope you enjoy our recipe of the day, the Mediterranean bean salad. Thanks.